Hi, my name is Michael Poley, and I've never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. My friends are obsessed and always make jokes and references to it, and so now, 20 years later, I've been convinced to watch the show from beginning to end, one episode a week. I'm a Buffy virgin.
Hi, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 12, Helpless, of Buffy Virgin. I'm your host this week, Dennis St. John, horror cartoonist, and we have today the Virgin, Michael the Virgin Poley.
I'm the virgin! I've only seen up to Season 3, Episode 12, Helpless, of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
And we have John Teach Landis.
Good evening, everyone.
So we are going to, Travis is not with us today, but he did provide the summary and some notes. So we're going to jump right into the summary. Take it away, Travis.
Season 3, Episode 12, Helpless. Buffy and Angel are fighting in his candlelit mansion, formerly headquarters of all things evil. Angel is finally wearing a t-shirt, and Buffy is wielding a loaf of bread. They joke about satisfaction, or lack thereof in Angel's case. It's Buffy's big birthday week, and her dad is going to take her to the ice show, and she's cautiously optimistic that this year is going to be better than last year. Before that happens, Giles has to quiz Bee about crystals. Yes, crystals. You see, little did Giles know that Buffy was going to be the good Slayer, and he's putting all his energy into her training. Faith has just gone on walkabout. Buffy goes out patrolling later, but she appears to be hit by a mystical force and loses all of her superheroine strength and almost ends up on the wrong side of Mr. Pointy. Giles isn't concerned about this, which should be concerning because that guy frets and sweats over the littlest of problems. But Buffy, well, she's got the ice show to think about, and handfuls of cotton candy feel within her reach. Buffy has smartly put a moratorium on formal birthday parties this year. Unfortunately, her father has bailed on the evening with his daughter, but leaves her 2 tickets to go to the show. Thanks, Dad. Much like any regular nerd, Buffy tries to convince everyone around her that her love of ice skating is completely normal. Like, real respectable people are into it. However, Buffy's literal asking Giles to take her to the rink is flatly ignored, which would normally be pretty sad in and of itself, but then he drugs her. She thinks she has just zoned out, but he's used crystal magic. She then goes home to sleep it off, she thinks. The next day, Buffy and Willow are talking about Amy. Yes, the witch Amy. Turns out she's still a rat, but Willow's working on it. Stay tuned, I guess. Anyways, Buffy sees a guy assaulting or intimidating Cordelia, and she goes to break it up. But, he pushes her violently to the ground like she was a dandelion. Cordy then goes on the attack as Willow helps Buffy get up. Buffy is terrified, and Giles just doesn't care. She feels like she is not the Slayer, which makes sense because her father figure, Watcher, Giles, is actively betraying her for an archaic so-called tradition going on 1,200 years. What does the Council have in store for a Slayer that has prevented 2 apocalypses? A drugged-up vampire and some sort of tomb. Happy birthday. But things go awry and the monster escapes from the tomb. Angel gives Buffy a book, which she likes. She does like the book. But then Angel has to break the ice that he saw her before she became a Slayer, and that he loved her because he could see her good heart. He wanted to keep her safe, put his heart on her warm heart, yada yada yada. Buffy realizes that while this is sweet, in some ways this is pretty darn yucky because she was barely 16 at the time. Predictably, the insane vampire breaks free after turning one of the hapless council helpers into another vampire, but he still wants to play the game and kill a weakened Slayer because he's crazy and she's a weakened Slayer. Buffy is walking home alone and is sexually harassed by some random guys, and then is violently harassed by the crazed vamp. Barely getting out alive, she jumps in Giles' car and he drops a bombshell and reveals that he injected her with the drug to remove her strength for the cruciamentum. That's this terrible ritual. Buffy asks who he is and how could he ever do this to her. He prattles something about tradition and asks her to listen to him, and yeah, she's not going to do that. In fact, if he touches her again, she'll kill him. Cordelia shows up and gives Buffy a ride home to an empty home. Yep, this day just got worse. Her mom's been kidnapped. She loads up her sweet attaché to do battle and get her mom back. Kralik and her fight. That's the crazy vamp's name, Kralik. And she ends up tricking him into drinking holy water and making him go poof. However, there still was one more vampire out there, and Giles in the nick of time stakes him. The evil head of the Watchers Council fires Giles, but as he wasn't getting in the newsletter or getting to go to the work retreats anyways, that's probably not so much of a big deal. However, he says that he's sending a new watcher for Buffy. That probably is a big deal. Buffy doesn't give one hoot and tells him to bite her. She seems to forgive Giles, which I guess is what happens when you really don't have a good father figure around. You kind of have to make lemonade out of lemons. Maybe he won't drug her anymore. That would be a nice birthday gift since he didn't get her anything for her birthday.
Thank you, Travis, for providing that and for, once again, not understanding that the summary is shorter than the episode.
He made a good point, though, that Giles didn't get her anything for her birthday. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Another birthday betrayal.
This was barely a birthday episode. I feel like they make such a big deal about all the parties in this show where like, oh, it's so-and-so's thing, and like totally ignored, basically.
Yeah, well, I think what happens on birthday episodes isn't just that like bad things happen, because that's every single episode, but that she's specifically betrayed on her birthday by someone she loves, right? So like season 2, it was Angel. Who knows who it'll be in season 4 or 5?
Oh, that's a good point, Dennis. Every birthday she's betrayed.
That's a birthday tradition. All right, let's move on to great lines. I gave myself 3. So prepare for my impressive impressions. Ice is cool. It's like water, but it's not.
I feel like in that line, Oz is like channeling ICP a little bit.
Magnets, how do they work? We're still learning who Oz is. From the end of the episode, Buffy's if I was at full strength, I'd be punning right now.
I like that line too.
That's the only one I wanted for myself, but I saw it up there. That one's great.
Sorry. And from the vampire Kralik, she's dead to me now, mostly because I killed and ate her.
I enjoyed when Buffy said, "I'm way off my game. My game's left the country. It's in Cuernavaca," because I had to look up what the hell she was saying because I didn't never. Have you heard of the city of Cuernavaca before?
No.
It is the 48th largest city in Mexico.
Wow.
It's the capital of the state it's in, though. So there's that.
That's wonderfully obscure. I was thrown off by that one, too.
All right, let's move on to weird noticings and trivia. I assume that there's going to be a fun tune playing. All right, I have the first. I say, Buffy and Angel are getting some serious wrestling in. Remember back in Lover's Walk when she was like, I shouldn't see you anymore?
Yeah. They keep saying, let's not date, but let's have sexy exercise together. That's happened more than once now.
Yeah, it used to just be Tai Chi. Now it's just some straight up bread poking.
Bread poking is a really gross
euphemism
for something.
The thing is, though, I like it more now. Like, I like that. I enjoyed that scene a lot, and I know that they're not supposed to be together, but the show doesn't give a shit that what they say. It's like they're going to be together. It's a fun scene. I like the chemistry they have now more than previous chemistries.
That's cool. Mike's coming around on.
Well, I mean, I have no control over what the show decides to do. I feel like a prisoner in an MST3K like scenario or things. Then like, yeah, okay, it's fine. I like it.
Prisoner.
I mean, for some of these, this episode made me so angry, but we can talk about it later.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, I want to talk about this scene, and I want to talk about Buffy and Angel's recipe for, I guess, a not romantic evening, but I want to compare it against Willow's recipe for a romantic evening in a previous episode. So when Willow decides to have a romantic evening with Oz, she gets together like a couple candles, a Barry White record, and some 7-Up. Like, we figured out that was her recipe for a romantic evening. Now, I wanted to say...
velvet, right?
Yes, and the dress. Yeah, that's right. So, Buffy and Angel, who are trying not to be romantic, here's what they got together. 1 sparring match, 1 bunch of green grapes, 1 bunch of red grapes, 1 bottle of, I think, seltzer water, 4 apples, 1 wedge of brie cheese. We'll get back to that. At least 3 baguettes. That's a lot of baguettes for 2 people. There's a fire in the fireplace. And if you pause on the wide shot and count, there are 24 candles that you can see in one shot.
That's amazing, John.
No, there's electricity in the building. You can see through to the other room that there's electricity in the building. So it's not, they don't have to light 24 candles.
No, Angel's all about fire. That's definitely like his big jam, right?
And one of the few things that can kill him.
Yeah. So totally smart thing
Can't
to
see
be
the
into.
sun. Of course he's going to have a thing with candles.
Okay, that's fair.
I'll be honest, I've seen this episode so many times or whatever. I never really noticed that she was staking him with bread until like Travis's summary. I just assume if Buffy's like shoving something into Angel, it's a steak.
That'd be weird, kinky.
Yeah, so this is totally not romantic, all this stuff.
I guess it's
if
not.
something happens.
But like, if I'm lighting 24 candles, I feel like I'm expecting something to happen.
But with all this setup, I really expected Angel to come to Buffy's rescue in this episode. But he's kind of a non-event. It's just like a romantic setup that doesn't get any payoff. Which is, I mean, it's lovely. I enjoy the chemistry, but where's Angel when she really needs him?
I think instead, like in the second Angel scene, he gave her the like confidence to like go and fight, even though you don't have power, right? Which is a dangerous thing. Maybe.
Oh no, I buy that. Gave him the confidence. I mean, she doesn't have to like remember back to. There doesn't have to be an imaginary Angel confidence, like apparition that tells her that she has the power. That's fine. I'm cool with her just being confident. That's fine.
So what is this deep history of Buffy and Bree, buddy?
Yeah, I want to talk about Buffy and Bree. So I would like to give a brief history of the connections between Buffy and Bree that we know about so far.
So far, because this is going to be an ongoing story.
I don't know. I'm just, these are all very, very minor mentions, but I feel like there might be, I don't know, maybe it's leading to something is all I'm saying. Okay, so in October 1998, Dead Man's Party airs. Xander and Cordelia agree that Bree is gross, and that's why they don't want to have a gathering or whatever is the lowest on Oz's like tiers of party types, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they agree that Bree is gross, which it's not, but that's what they think. And then in November of 98, the episode Homecoming airs. And in that episode, Buffy is listing all of the contenders for the Homecoming Queens, all of their strengths and weaknesses. One of Cordelia's weaknesses is Bree. So she's already mentioned she doesn't like it. So it's her weakness, presumably because she's scared of it or something. And then in this episode, Helpless, Buffy and Angel enjoy Bree as part of their indoor not sexy picnic. Are they trying to ward off Cordelia in some way? Is that a possibility? I don't know. Okay, so flash way forward, September 2007, comedian Allison Brie stars in a Buffy parody sketch called Muffy the Vampire Slayer that was created as part of a failed pilot for like a TV spin-off show, a spin-off to Not Another Teen Movie. It's called Not Another High School Show. Have you seen this pilot? It's on YouTube.
No.
It's really bizarre.
I have seen only the Muffy clips, actually.
Yeah, and they're terrible. It's totally worth Googling.
Is it spoiler free?
It's spoiler free. It's
Great.
real dumb.
Well, I'll be judging that.
But interestingly enough, Allison Brie is in that, and Jennifer Lawrence is in it, and Andy Dick is not in that sketch, but he's on that show. So
Andy Dick.
Interesting. Actually, not at all interesting. But what's the pattern? What's the Brie code? Can we crack the Brie code? Is my question.
Next time we see you, you're going to have like a whole like chart in the background,
like the threads connecting it, like the beautiful mind. Like, yeah, that's the sign that I've.
No, there's clearly a thing. Is there reference to Brie in other Joss Whedon shows? Is Brie?
I don't know. I've not been looking for it.
Well, it's like it's either very gross or very romantic, right? So it's like it's on both sides of the spectrum in the same universe. Like, so they're inconsistent about its usage. It's gross, it's a weapon, but it's also super romantic. So that might be it. But let's dig deeper.
Keep your eyes open for Brie, everybody.
All right. What about other types of cheese?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a cheese pattern.
Would Swiss poke holes in this Brie theory?
Oh!
I can't believe you're reacting to that. You guys are great. You should have a separate cheese podcast. Cheese and television with John Landis and Dennis St. John. So Angel admits in this scene that he was apparently sexually attracted to Buffy when she was even younger.
Yeah.
And everyone's so excited about this.
That's the weirdest thing to me is just that Buffy doesn't react to that weirdly. Like, we already knew that because we'd seen the flashbacks. But like,
actually, Buffy's initial reaction makes sense. Because what Angel says, I watched you. And I saw you called. It was a bright afternoon out in front of your school. You walked down the steps and I loved you. And Buffy's reaction is, why? Which is fair. And then she's okay with it after that. But she does ask why.
He gives the heart speech.
Yeah, he gives her the little heart speech.
Then she hugs and says, that's beautiful. Or taken literally, incredibly gross.
It's gross either way.
Okay, well then she has the right reaction to it. It's just like it was a wonderful surprise for me to hear that he was attracted to her from the first moment, which is like something you reveal to someone, like when you're in a relationship, right? And like you finally get to say I love you, they love you back, and you're like, oh, and then there's this moment where you talk about the first time you were attracted to each other, right? Where it's like it's safe to say this first time when it would be creepy, to talk about earlier wouldn't work. And he discussed that. They're long past that moment, so they can totally discuss this. But it was just like, she doesn't really have a first moment I was attracted to Angel thing to say back. It's just like he has his moment, which is like years before she even saw him. He's like, yeah, I was watching you. You were 12. And that was my moment.
I had a lot of black paint on my car so that I could watch you during the day.
I just can't imagine telling girl that shit.
I don't know again that it's much better now.
Well,
she's
18
200
now.
something, and how old is she now?
She just turned 18.
Turned 18? Okay.
It's a dyke, not a duck. Okay, it's fine. He's fine.
Such a creep. Angel's a creep.
So moving on to my next thing here, like, I know this is what the episode's about, but like Buffy is off her game, and what's going on? Like, I wrote this down and paused the show while I was watching it because I was like, when Buffy gets like defeated almost by a vampire I think it's the cold open, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is going on? I was really concerned, and I was looking for things going on, and then the Angel situation doesn't like kind of obviously this gets explained, but I was really concerned.
Yeah.
And the reveal on this episode is great.
Like it goes to the ending without you seeing the resolution. Is that what happens?
It doesn't really get resolved. I mean, we see. Let's get to it later. I mean, just the Giles stuff is so disappointing.
Okay. I also like in that fight that when we see it, the vampire's falling down the kid slide, and I was just like, how did Buffy lure him up the kid slide to begin with?
Oh, right. Also, we're back on this playground. This playground there should be a warning zone around this thing. This is where the 2 dead kids were found last episode. Yeah, this is where Drusilla almost killed a kid. This is a fucked up place, this playground.
I say Buffy loves Ice Show and has daddy issues.
Yes.
I mean, I know the way she describes her father to Angel is like a joke, but that is a legit weird way to describe your dad.
How does she describe her dad?
Oh, she was like, I have a date with an older man. He's terribly handsome, and he likes it when I call him daddy.
Yeah, that was creepy even as a joke, I thought.
Yeah. I think even Angel's like, oh, okay. Huh?
Yeah, correct. Although, again, Angel is that guy, so whatever.
Yeah. A lot of weird older adults in Buffy's life.
Yep.
Or not in her life. My next comment is Faith is on a walkabout. Giles is not being a good caregiver to her. That they're just allowing this. And speaking of bad caregiving.
Yeah, so we don't really have a segment to talk about this stuff, but I'm sure it's going to come up where there's Buffy news. But, Eliza Dushku came forward in the last week. This is a bad transition. We know it's bad. But
yeah, sorry, everybody.
Sorry, everyone. With allegations against her stunt coordinator for the 1994 film True Lies, Joel Kramer, the stunt coordinator, she said molested her when he was 36 and she was 12 years old. So he said that he manipulated her parents and her to get alone with her in a Miami hotel room, allegedly got naked, initiated unwanted physical contact with her on a bed, Kramer denies it, obviously. And we'll see how this plays out. I mean, this just came out.
Jesus.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this show,
James
you've probably
Cameron
heard
directed True Lies, says he knew nothing of this was going on. She apparently talked to her parents and then later suffered an injury to her ribs in a stunt gone wrong the same day that her friend talked to Kramer, suggesting it was no accident. So we'll see how this comes out. But like, it's a really crazy story in the Me Too kind of movement. It makes me really sad and grossed out.
Yeah, and I think we maybe just want to say that like our hearts go out to you, Eliza, and we're sorry that this happened.
We're sorry you're on walkabout during this episode, that you have to be on walkabout.
Yeah. All right. John?
Wow. Okay. I mean, I guess this entire episode is about creepy, horrible men. I mean, it's just, I guess. Ugh.
So, of course, we are the right people to talk about
Yeah, thank God we've got 3 dudes to sit around and talk about that.
This was
that's what the world needs.
This was planned.
Yeah.
We didn't plan this.
So I just wanted to point out that for whatever it's worth, Cordelia has her creepy guy situation kind of impressively under control, right?
Yeah. Well, I think Buffy interjects at the right point where like that dude is like physically trapping her between him and the tree.
Right.
But then
that's true.
She totally Cordelia.
But just that she, but even like, though he's physically stronger than her and does have her kind of pinned, like she never plays his game, that she's continues to be confident, sort of like Cordelia, and knows exactly what her role is in the situation all the way through is kind of neat. I just liked her dialogue in that scene.
No, it's good. It's like the Buffy's attention is kind of unnecessary in it. Like Cordelia has it figured out, but Buffy, like as we've seen, very good at taking care of bullies. So it's kind of like distressing to see it not work.
It is.
We see what might typically happen, where she's thrown to the ground by this angry bully.
And we also see some physical consequences to it because, like, one of the things that's happening this episode is without her strength, she also doesn't have her healing, so she's getting like bruises building up, and so that's where she gets. I think that's where she gets that shoulder bruise that's there for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, but question about this: like, doesn't her training matter? Like, she trains, right? Like,
yeah, but it is. I assume this is not just like a regular anesthetic. Or not anesthetic, a regular.
So she's on a combination of muscle relaxers and like adrenaline suppressants, I think is what he says.
Yeah, I imagine that this was like specifically designed by the Watchers Council to like knock out Slayers, right? Because of course, if you're the Watchers Council, that's something you make.
I would like. Yes, it is what the Watchers Council would do. I would like to hear Dr. Travis, explain to us what the effects of taking muscle relaxers and adrenaline suppressants at the same time, or if that is even a thing.
Let's note that for a future Dr. Travis segment. Can we do that, John?
Sure.
And also, can we create a Dr. Travis segment? Because
that's a great idea. It keeps coming up.
And like every episode has a thing. Like obviously the potential brain damage for Giles from multiple, being knocked out frequently. But
Dr. Travis.
Yeah, but like it's kind of, I
think you're right. There should be training that regardless kicks in, and I think that's what the final test is supposed to be about, right?
What were tests like in the past though? Did they always have this serum? They probably didn't. Like, it was probably a worse test in the past if you can't like take someone's power away completely. Probably lock them in a room with someone, take all their weapons away. Anyway, this test is super fucked. I hate the Watcher Council. What is going on with this Watcher Council? They have no stipends, no funding. Giles is forced to like put this person he now cares for in too fatherly a way into this scenario. I guess I'll wait a little bit longer, but we gotta talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot to say about the Watchers Council.
So I'll take Travis's comment here.
Yeah.
The crystals, best prop work all season. Then the crystals.
Yep. Definitely some phallic playing with that crystals on Buffy's part there.
It was weird, Giles' insistence on the crystals, and like even I, as a regular viewer, was kind of thrown off by the crystal test. It seemed like a new weird one. Like, oh, you need to know these crystals, and like Buffy's bored and making jokes, and I was like, come on, be serious. So he's using his Giles powers to make it sound like it's important, and then as soon as she gets into the crystal, it's just like random injection. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But anyway, next question here. How many kryptonites are there? This was a good gag. So when Buffy's talking about, being weaker all of a sudden, there's this good joke about how many kryptonites there are and what all the things they do. Now,
I put in my notes.
Well, good, because I'm not a Superman fan, but I've read Superman. I don't know about even all the kryptonites they mentioned. So I feel like this feels like old-timey Superman. They have to introduce new kryptonites to solve Superman problems. But
yeah,
please.
I would like to ask Dennis about this because in 9th grade, Dennis had in his locker a list of all the kinds of all the kryptonite from Superman. He had like a list in his locker, which I believe that you like hand typed that list up, like you copied it out of Wizard magazine. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think you're correct. I don't remember that's how I got that list, but that makes sense.
I don't remember if it was from Wizard, but I do remember that it was not like it's not like something you cut out or something that was like printed somewhere, or I think it was on a poster. It was like you had typed it up and printed it out.
And then I put it on my locker.
Yep.
Or inside my locker. Pretty cool guy.
At least as cool as Oz.
Well, that's the thing is like, I put mine at the wrong place, I guess. But like, I think nowadays it's cooler to be into superheroes and stuff. But like, this is in the 90s, way not cool.
Especially Superman. I feel like among superhero fans, like Superman fans are a little extra dorky.
Yeah. These aren't even X-Men fans. They're not even Image Rob Liefeld fans.
Which would have been more appropriate to the time this came out.
So I don't, yes, I was into Kryptonite and Superman at the time. I don't remember this stuff very well. Even though I am at some point going to be on another podcast called Somebody Save Me From This Podcast, where we watch every episode of Smallville.
That sounds like a terrible mistake.
That's one of David Yoder's projects.
Why would you do that?
Well, I'm not going to be on every episode. The idea is Yoder has put so many people through watching that show that he's going to bring on guests who used to be his roommates. So I watched with him like seasons 8, 9, and 10 when we were roommates. But I know that Smallville has a lot of different kryptonites because it's got the classic green. It had the red that on Smallville, it turned Superman evil, but I think a lot of times red transforms him randomly.
Yes, I looked this up because they're actually both right. Both Oz and Xander are correct because red has a bunch of random effects, including like one apparently it turned him into Superman into a dragon once.
Yeah.
But then it also one of the random effects it has is weakening Superman, taking his powers away.
And gold, which Oz brings up, I think, gold permanently removes Superman's powers. So it was a big plot in Smallville to try to give him a gold kryptonite ring. I remember that. And it's actually how in the last Alan Moore, like the last of the original Superman stories, how they resolve what happened to the Man of Tomorrow. All right.
Can we talk about Smallville for 1 second? Isn't that whole show just about us as an audience waiting for Superman to become Superman, and then it never happens?
It happens in the last friggin' 5 minutes of season 10. It's so frustrating. It's so upsetting to me. There was even a point where Yoder was like, all right, I don't think I even need to start season 10. And I was like, no, I've watched friggin' 2 seasons of the show with you. I am not quitting until I see him in that fucking blue suit. God damn it.
So it's all these hints and suggestions that one day this Superboy might become Superman. He doesn't hop. He doesn't jump, he hops, rather. He doesn't have the powers. He's figuring them out.
Yeah, which is fine when you're in high school, but the show went on for 10 seasons. So he's an adult working at the Daily Planet, and he still doesn't know how to fucking fly. And he's like marrying Lois Lane, and like he's not Superman yet. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, it's these TV shows gone wrong that take advantage of us as viewers because something's supposed to happen. And so in the back of your mind, you're like, this thing. It's just like why every movie is like an origin film. and they satisfy your knowledge of the origin a little bit of the character. And you're like, cool. Thankfully, the Marvel films have generally moved beyond that, which is why they're so exciting, because they're not like dealing with origins. But Superboy, the Smallville, and I only watched a little bit of it because Elizabeth was watching it and then gave up. It was just like, they never satisfy you. Ever.
Yeah.
It's so always so frustrating. Anyway, just wanted to share some of that.
He actually fights Doomsday before becoming Superman. It makes no fucking sense.
But he's not killed by a Doomsday, right?
I don't remember. I didn't actually watch that season. Yoder just described it to me. But James Spike plays Brainiac in that series.
Oh,
what? Don't make me want to watch that. Don't Buffy connect that show.
And there's also in Runaways. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, Runaways is good?
Yeah.
So Giles injects Buffy with a mysterious substance. As I was watching this show, I so wanted this to be an alternate universe because it was so upsetting watching that scene. Because he hypnotizes Buffy. She's staring into the crystal, and he's like, look in the crystal, see its flaw or something. And I'm like, oh, maybe there's some lesson here. This is kind of interesting. Maybe she's going to develop psychic powers. Whatever. Like, that's where my brain was going. And then he ties her off and injects her. And, like, it was so upsetting to see that relationship with Giles just severed completely as a viewer. Like, I don't like Giles anymore. Like, that was enough. Like, and I wonder, as just a season 3 concept, is season 3 about every character you love, like, having some big lie that makes you not like them? Like, everyone in season 3, every major character has had something terrible happen, except for Cordelia, who has just, like, had stuff done to her. Like, she's the greatest, like, victim of season 3. But, like, everybody else, like, you know, Buffy lied about her relationship with Angel after he came back and that he was there. You know, obviously Xander and Willow lied about their secret relationship, which fucked some things up. You know, Oz hasn't done anything too terrible, and neither is Cordelia. And now Giles. So I guess, like, I'm waiting for Oz and Cordelia to flip. But, like, this made me so upset. I was angry, and then later when Giles is like, oh, it's the Watcher Council. You know, that's, like, I'm just following orders. Like, I don't know how I feel about this Watcher Council, who's been basically alien from this whole show, and now introducing themselves so strongly. Like, we've had one loose person come from the Watcher Council that tried to steal this crazy glove that does lightning magic. And I'm like, Watcher Council is terrible. They offer no value. Giles was barely involved in their retreat. Anyway, I can't imagine he's following orders from a good organization. And the Watcher Council seems evil. That's all. I want to talk about this more about what this means, but, like, I had a very emotional reaction to that scene.
Yeah, that's intense.
I was so angry.
Is that also the same scene where, like, Buffy is just trying to ask Giles to go to the ice show with?
Oh, it's not that exact same scene, but that scene is really difficult because she's dropping hints so hard, and Giles is like, oh, yes, whatever.
But you understand afterwards that he's tuning her out because he needs to be like, he can't be good Giles if he's doing something terrible, so he's got to be like, mean and distant to her.
But the ice show is like, she's turning 18. She needs to connect with what it was like to be a child. But the world has moved on. Her dad has moved on. She can't be a kid anymore. She's an adult. And it's like kid world versus adult world. Get it. But yeah, that scene is heartbreaking.
I say Willow went to Snoopy on Ice. That is insanely specific to my life.
How so, Dennis?
Well, I mean, I work across the street from the Snoopy Ice Arena, which Charles Schultz built. I'm not sure how much I could talk about this, but I personally know Snoopy, the Snoopy who Charles Schultz chose to be the representative under the mask, and so probably the Snoopy that Willow saw and threw up in front of. And they are a really good Snoopy. They're totally good. They get deep into character, and, like, told me a story one time about going to the White House and was like, oh, and you know how Snoopy is around Secret Service. And, like, Snoopy pranking the Secret Service. And I was like, you were talking about Snoopy like he's a different person than you.
Oh, whoa. I had no idea that the Snoopy costume character was, like, a thing.
Yeah, it's totally a thing.
Huh.
But it's one person. Do they do the voice also during the movies?
No, Snoopy doesn't talk. I mean, in the cartoons and stuff, Snoopy is voiced by Bill Melendez's voice is sped up to be like, but it's not. But he's been dead for a number of years, and they just keep reusing those recordings. This is the physical presence of Snoopy. And I think other people have worn the suit, but they need to be trained by this person.
It's so interesting trying to transfer a comic character into mime. It's such a strange medium transition.
It is super, and there's a big transition anytime Snoopy moves from the comics into any other form because he becomes mute because he doesn't speak.
Right.
But in the comic, we read his dialogue a lot. He's a very verbose character, and they switched to being a mime.
That's very strange.
So it's suddenly is much more limited. I don't know. It's just funny when something get random Snoopy is brought up that's very specific to my life.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that and thought of you immediately. Of course, the on ice tradition of Snoopy is apparently at least as old as this show, and we don't know how much older.
No, it's at least from the 70s. I think they built the ice arena back then.
Now, nowadays, Marvel is on ice, apparently, and they do the whole story of the Marvel characters.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's the on ice tradition continues because children love things on ice. I don't know why it continues. There's this physical phenomenon of doing a thing on ice that kids are more excited about. I mean, it seems to be like a family entertainment thing. You need something to do during the day, and it's kind of spectacular.
When I was a kid, I went to Smurfs on ice.
How was that?
I have no memory of it.
I feel
like it's been great.
I feel like I did a He-Man on ice and a Sesame Street on ice.
Whoa, He-Man on ice. That must have been surreal.
Yeah, probably not. Probably
was He-Man like an actual shirtless dude, or did they have a muscle suit on?
I bet it was a muscle suit.
But definitely Sesame Street on ice. That was a thing. It's kids' entertainment on ice, and that's enough of a combination to get people to come out and pay $30 or whatever. But the Marvel on Ice thing is it's weird because I feel like a lot of people, not people I work with, but people I think young people will go to that because it's a weird crossover thing because people love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's hitting the right chord where it's no longer family entertainment. It's kind of somewhat adult, but not really young single people.
Just everything superhero related. Just leave it for the kids.
But it's clearly advertising itself as a kid thing, and then adults go anyway, and they don't belong.
And they yell that's inaccurate.
Yes, they're disappointed by the suits and the people miming or moving their lips to the lip synced performance.
What about Willow's outfit?
Yeah, it's a particularly good Willow outfit. I put a screenshot of it in our document. I suppose, should I screen share really quickly?
Well, yeah, tell us about this amazing thing.
Oh, it's just a particularly good Willow outfit. She's got sort of brownish mustard color tights, the same color sweater, this pink skirt, and rainbow colored winter hat. It's just very Willow. It's just a really she's power clashing is what she's doing. It's really cool. It's a good outfit. This is how my girlfriend dresses pretty much.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, I've never met her, so now I will picture that you're dating teenage Willow.
Oh, you never met her? I've only met her the one time, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, she's a little elusive, but yeah, that's about the outfit.
So Amy's apparently still a rat, and I know I have a prediction going where I don't think she'll be a rat very long. Kind of surprised to hear about how she's doing as a rat.
Yeah, and also I want to point out that when Buffy brings it up, she's bringing it up to be have you de-ratted her yet? And Willow doesn't seem focused on that right now.
No, she's way into having a pet. I mean, she did lose her fish, we know, right?
Yeah. This used to be my friend. Now it's my pet.
Willow is not a good caretaker because she's not at, like, there's no time crunch. There's no urgency to transform Amy back. And that makes me sad. And it was a funny conversation, but it's also like, Amy doesn't want to be a rat. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I think Amy's going to be a little resentful when she comes out of rat form.
How does time work when you're a rat? Do you remember it? Who knows? I say fucking Quentin Travers. Now we get to the point where the plot is revealed and they're like building the murder house and
good name for it.
Like, fuck this guy, man.
Which one's Quentin Travers?
He's the boss. He's the boss of the Watchers.
Watcher boss. Yeah, fuck that guy. He's such an asshole.
And like, I don't know, just when he's lecturing Giles and he's like, this is to prove like the Slayer indeed has the cunning and the skills. And it's like the idea that Buffy at this point hasn't proven herself yet is just insane. Like the amount of shit she's had to do. Like, I really, really believe that this is not a test that the Slayer is designed to live past. This is like you've been a Slayer too long. Time to just die, so that
which doesn't make a lot of sense strategically. Even if you don't care about like the life of the Slayer, why would getting a random new one be better than an experienced one? How does that make any sense?
You guys,
because the more experience, the more power, right? And
they're like threatened by the Slayer. That makes sense.
Yeah.
No, you guys bring up an interesting point, and Dennis, you're moving me to this like kind of observation here, but like, yeah, you're right. They don't want her to live, and they don't want to. There's no stipend from the Watcher Council because they don't want them to succeed. So the Watcher Council is clearly allied with the demons in some way. Like they want everyone to lose, which seems crazy, but like clearly they do. Like, and they have Giles kind of set up to like make Buffy die or fail, and her mom gets involved, right?
Yeah.
They want her to die, but I don't know why. I don't know what happens when the Slayer dies. What's the big benefit for them? But like
new Slayer, naive Slayer. It's like a workplace where they encourage you to like they encourage high turnovers because they keeps you cheap.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that assumes the Watcher Council would want them to implement the Slayer in the right place and like be more strategic, and they're clearly not. Yeah, this is just like some random shit. They don't want it to happen. So they want her to die. Oh, shit. What a weird show.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is like the first time we've really seen anyone from the Watchers Council before Giles, besides Giles, you know?
Right.
Just like, we still don't.
I assume Faith would get a new Watcher before Buffy gets a new one, apparently. Jumping ahead, anyway.
Let's see. I already said about the sad scene. I said that ridiculously long spoon for feeding the vampires pills. That is some weird ass like 19th century invention kind of stuff.
It's really good prop work, is what it is.
it's sloppy plot work or prop work. Like obviously that's designed to fail. There's got to be an easier way. I was also thinking about those pills, and I know there's some more talk about this, but like, there's no way, like, they're not giving him antipsychotics, which is what you need to give like a serial killer. They're giving him like, I don't know, migraine medicine or something. All right. That one guy using the spoon, is from Star Trek Enterprise.
Yes, that is Dominic Keating. He plays Malcolm Reed on Star Trek Enterprise. Interestingly enough, Jeff Kober, the amazing character actor who plays the vampire, was also in an episode of Star Trek Enterprise, as well as Star Trek Voyager.
He has, let's do it now, he has an amazing...
his IMDb page is so long.
He's been on like one episode of everything. Yep. He was on... Also, his natural face is already a vampire face.
Yes, yes. Like Luke, he's like, he just looks the part already.
Yeah. So he was on an episode of Charmed, an episode of a Poltergeist TV series. Yep. He had a reoccurring role on Kindred the Embraced, which is like the other vampire show. He was on Earth 2. He was on an episode of X-Files, Alien Nation. He was on MacGyver, The 90s Twilight Zone, and V. This dude has been like on every genre.
The original V, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking Earth 2, man.
So obviously
yeah.
the Star Trek, you mentioned Star Trek sound is played.
Yeah.
Probably played continuously.
It's a lot of Star Trek going on in this episode.
It's the only Star Trek reference I planned out for this episode, but we'll see what happens.
On Enterprise, do the two interact?
I did not, as part of my research for this, go back and rewatch that episode. Jeff Cooper plays a fairly minor character, so maybe not. I don't know.
Or is he?
He's an alien. He's a character that has a name on the internet, but only because it's in the script. It's not actually mentioned in the episode in the dialogue. So it's a fairly minor character, but I don't know if they interacted.
It looks like we've already talked about my next three observations. John bears repeating, Angel is a creep.
Yep.
Yeah, so we just the other scene with Buffy and Angel. That's our takeaway from it. Angel's a creep. Let's see. So the Star Trek Enterprise guy gets bitten and drained, and he turns really quick, I think.
Do we know how much time has passed?
It couldn't have been more than a day.
Yeah.
It seems like it was a really quick turnaround to me, and he was not buried.
Right. Maybe that's why.
Maybe he also I don't know. I feel like they don't care.
Yeah. Pork and Beans was never buried either, and he took longer to turn.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a recipe as far as how you turn. It's just whatever's most story convenient. The end.
Yeah. It seems like if most vampires burst out of their coffin and dig themselves out of the grave, that's at least a week. But I don't know.
Right.
Let's see. I say when you don't have Slayer strength, normal human men are suddenly dangerous again. Just in that catcalling scene before the vampires attack.
Yep.
That was, yeah. You're I'm worried for Buffy's safety.
Oh, right. And she should have asked for Angel to walk her home, right? That was a weird, sad scene.
Yeah. The world's really dangerous.
That felt like the more real universe, being exposed. Not even Sunnydale, just the real world.
Yeah.
Because my wife always tells me when she gets catcalled, and it's all the time. And I'm not saying it as a compliment to her. I just mean people suck.
Yeah. We have that kind of male advantage of I can just walk down the street and not feel threatened, right? Most of the time.
No, white men are never accosted by anyone. Sorry. Yeah, you're
right. Cargo pants.
Hey, you guys remember cargo
let's
pants?
Talk about cargo pants.
That was a brief thing. We were all wearing cargo pants, whether we liked it or not, because they were just available. But he's wearing cargo pants. And made me laugh when I saw him, because it felt like a very 90s thing that had interjected itself into the show's wardrobe.
Don't think I ever bought a pair of cargo pants.
Really?
I think I skipped it.
Well, Magical Landis.
Are you too cool for school? I definitely had cargo pants.
Ditto. John, you would love it. They're pants with a lot of pockets.
Yeah. You can put all your tools in them and stuff.
Yeah. I definitely had a pair of military pants with lots of pockets. So I don't know if that's cool.
Did you ever wear cargo shorts?
No.
Heck yeah.
I did.
I have a thing about not showing people my legs.
I had a roommate, John Michael, who one time saw me in shorts. He goes, No. An adult does not wear shorts. And he goes, I myself have not worn shorts. Oh, has it been that long? In 10 years.
Agree. Don't wear shorts. Shorts are not a good idea for anyone. Joyce got kidnapped. Do you want to talk about that?
Joyce gets kidnapped because somehow she mistakes this 6'2" man for her tiny daughter because of the coat.
He's just wrapped in a coat on her doorstep. It's so weird. It's such a weird reveal. What is he doing? Vampires just don't want to be seen through the little peephole. And then, anyway.
I just can't believe that dumb plan worked. Joyce, you gotta, think ahead sometimes.
Does Buffy have like a Red Riding Hood? Is that a garment she owns? Is that
She's
revealed?
wearing it in that scene. That's
okay. All right. That's right.
He
Okay.
steals
All
it
right.
from her. That's one of I bring that up in themes, that there's a visual thematic Little Red Riding Hood thing going
Right.
through for all that matters.
Right.
Giles telling Buffy the truth is an emotionally devastating scene.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago that Giles was all upset and betrayed by Buffy. I feel like they're I guess they're not even Steven, but I feel like
it was definitely this season.
Instead of being like apologetic and stuff, was just really bitter about it and was like, well, you betrayed me, so I think I was allowed to betray you once.
Well, the way this show works, totally. He'll be forgiven for sure.
I mean, it's worse because Giles is the adult, of course.
Yeah. And Buffy is just like, well, she's really hurt. She's all like,
right.
She has the like, who are you? Like, her reality is like, they make a really specific point in this episode to say she sees him as a father figure.
But they don't. Right? She doesn't get the confrontation scene where she really like lays into Giles about it, right? Like, does she?
No, not really.
No, I mean, it's just like we recognize it as the viewer, but there's no scene where Buffy's like, hey, what the fuck?
She throws something at him.
Okay.
Yeah, but I agree. I feel like there's a stronger condemnation from her that could have happened.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of it is at the end, not only does Giles go and like save them from the last vampire and stuff, but then he's fired by the council also. So that's the kind, like, he needs to be fired by the council in order for there to be forgiveness possible, right? Like, that's why it happens, right? Is like, otherwise they never could move beyond it if he was still working for this organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I say, welcome to Murder House. Kralik has kind of a very Buffalo Bill voice kind of going on. He does.
He does.
What's this?
Hard fuck me.
What's this next note, Mike?
Hot cross massage? What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Well, she uses the cross on,
the
guy, and like it.
Oh, that's great.
Gets evaporated into him, and then instead of being scared, well, he's initially scared, then he kind of draws it into him, and then it basically acts like it's a massage tool. And then I'm imagining maybe it could be a massage tool for vampires. Like, Angel had a little cross that he wore for a dance or whatever. It clearly hasn't had no long-term effect. It's just like a temporary effect. Like the cross is damaging, but not permanently.
I thought it was like a sexual masochism thing he was doing.
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely shoving that cross low. I don't know how low.
It was above the belt. But, when Angel like is dancing with Buffy, he's got a cross on or whatever. Like, this is like...
She's got a cross, but it burned.
Yeah, she's got one. Is that season 1 even? Like, where that's
might be, yeah.
Yeah. So there's like a cross situation that happens, and like he just tolerates the pain because it's just pain. So vampires like a little bit of it. It's a little bit pleasurable, a little bit painful. Probably reminds them of how they're vampires.
Yeah.
And so you can embrace or not embrace it, and probably a spa treatment of some kind.
No, vampire spa.
A nice cross peeling.
Yeah, it is probably more of a peeling thing than a hot stone thing.
Gross.
Did Buffy at normal human strength just beat a vampire unconscious? I think she did. When she traps the Star Trek Enterprise guy under a bookcase and then just like wails on him for a little while. I'm like, looks like she knocked him out for at least a little while. So good for her.
Yeah, pretty badass, Buffy.
Mike, you say the Polaroid room?
Yeah, that's like thousands of dollars in Polaroids. That's crazy. And that's just of Joyce, maybe? Like, we don't see anything else.
Joyce, yeah.
Like, that's obnoxious. I feel like Joyce, because it's like, there's 10 pictures that you can fit in a Polaroid camera, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, there's at least 1,000. So it's like 100 reloads, slow reloads of pictures of Joyce. That's annoying. And
Yeah.
she's been there for hours, maybe? Like,
Maybe, yeah.
it's just really sadistic and strange to do that.
Even back then when they were making Polaroids, they were mad expensive.
Yeah, they've always been $10 plus per.
I don't think that they're paying for him, though. They probably broke into the, like...
Oh, Broken Lab. Okay, so they're free Polaroids. Don't worry about the cost. It's still weird. And then to arrange them in the Polaroid room, like, this is...
Yeah, it's one thing if it's like, this is a serial killer who's been doing this for years, and this is his Polaroid room.
Right.
But to, like, set up all of
He set it up really quick.
all of the effects of a serial killer, but I'm doing it only on, like, this... I only have an hour.
He's like, okay, listen, Malcolm Reed. I need you to go down to the Costco and raid their Polaroid stash.
Yeah,
I'm going to draw Buffy into this room and really weird her out.
But this vampire is very strange because he's like, for all his life, as far as we know, like has been imprisoned and forced to take pills so he become addicted to them, right, by 2 members of the Watchers Council. And like, he's free for a brief period of time and then he goes back to this. So probably, right, the theory I would think is like he was a serial killer that then became a vampire, right?
Yeah.
But they give his history.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's got a history of being locked up in mental asylums before he was a vampire.
And he ate his mom. Right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, I guess I ignored that part. Sorry. Where was his history? Who said his history?
Giles says it when he gives Buffy the full truth. And
okay.
I think he says, like, he was, he gets cut off, but he says something about, like, he was in an insane asylum when a vampire, and that's, like, when they get cut off. But easy pickings for a vampire.
Well, I'm glad that happened. I watched the same show. Apparently, I listened only half as much. I missed that part. It just seemed like he might be a serial killer in another life.
John, you got the next.
Oh yeah. I just feel like, so I love the way that Buffy kills him is super badass, where she like tricks him into drinking the holy water and then he like dissolves from the inside. I really feel like non-wooden stake based methods of killing vampires are way underutilized because you can set them on fire. We know that works, right? We know that the cross burning thing can have an effect, and we know that the holy water thing works. And holy water can be made in infinite quantities by Catholic priests.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
there's always that riddle of, like, isn't everything holy water at this point? Like,
right, yes, because you can't dilute holy water. That's one of the rules. So, like, yeah, I feel like the thing they do in Lost Boys where they fill up their squirt guns with holy water is a really effective idea and should be used. Yeah. Also, like, if a cross is all it takes, like, I don't know, put a bunch of them together and make a net out of them and throw it on a vampire. Because staking is such a close quarters, intimate, specifically difficult thing to do. I feel like they picked the hardest one.
Yeah, well, that's what Buffy's job is to do the hardest thing. Yeah.
Flamethrowers.
That's going to kill a lot of victims also.
Okay, all right, yeah.
But I like the cross net. I think that's a good idea. Or, like, I don't know, does one extra large cross burn more than a small cross?
Get them
trapped under a cross.
Yeah, is it surface area or is it quantity of crosses?
Or I don't know.
We'll see. Some experimentation is in order.
I say fuck the council, fuck Quentin Travers.
Here.
I've already said it before, but he's such a dick. The thing of, like, you passed, but you failed. And, like, again, congratulations on passing. Like, don't pretend this is normal. I like also when Giles, like, confronts him, he, like, shakes him, and it doesn't stop Travers from, like, holding his tea. It's like, I still got to keep my English tea! Let's see. I already said that. So was Giles pulling down 2 salaries before?
Yeah. So do you think so?
Yes.
Because they say Giles was fired, so he must have been getting paid. And Buffy directly says that he's obviously working for the school, so he was getting 2 salaries, which is why he's got such a dope house and this like classic car, right? And then he's also letting Faith live in a hotel.
I know.
Come on, Giles.
Giles is
not giving her cash. Is that what's going on?
Giles is a pretty decent dad to Buffy most of the time, but he's a terrible dad to Faith.
I mean, Faith probably would refuse money maybe because she's Faith and she's like independent and she wants to live in her spot and quarters or whatever. But like, I feel like she could use like sandwich money.
Yeah. I don't know. You got to be funding the Slayers some way if they're not going to be like living at their parents' house, right? It's fucked up. I say Willow is way focusing on the wrong thing in the giant amount of sandwich scene. Just that
I
she's
didn't notice all the sandwiches.
She's just obsessed with that Giles lost his job.
Yeah.
Keeps repeating that instead of like, Giles drugged you? Wait a second, Giles drugged you?
Yeah.
Are they making all those sandwiches because of all the baguette left over from Buffy's indoor picnic with Angel?
But they apparently make them like all jelly first before even opening the peanut butter at all. They made like, it looked like 20 jelly sandwiches with no peanut butter.
Well, maybe Giles wants a jelly-only sandwich because he didn't get a jelly donut in the next episode. Sorry, forgot that was not this episode. Never mind. Can't predict that, Mike.
He's going to get a donut? What a worthless prediction that would be. But if I pulled that
Sorry,
off.
I watched that today. I forgot that
What
wasn't this
people are
episode.
going to eat next.
That peanut butter jar did not look hard to open. It was made of plastic. Jars are only hard to open if they're glass.
Yes.
There's some sort of vacuuming. All right.
All right, that's Weird Noticings.
That's it for Weird Noticings. Let's move on to questions for the group. Travis has the first question. He says, what was the most important birthday age for you? Any birthday traditions? I can't recall. I don't know.
I feel like 16 was a really important age. Where that was the year my dad gave, you're kind of expecting your parents are going to give you a car or something like that. And that's the year my dad gave me a big book of mazes.
I remember that.
And I remember being really confused. It was like, but it wasn't like a big, like it was lengthy. It was like literally a large book of mazes.
Like, how are you? You're holding up your hands at like 3 or 4 feet wide? Is that?
Yeah, that's accurate. It was just like, some company figured out a way to print the largest possible paper cheaply and made a large book of mazes. So maybe the mazes are hard. I never did them, but it was.
That's a terrible gift because it looks big wrapped up and then it's shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a Costco gift? That seems like a Costco gift.
Yeah, possibly. I also got at that same birthday, also got the tiny car in the garage gift. Like, oh, go to the garage, there'll be a car for you kind of thing. But it was also just like a little car.
It was just a prank?
Yeah, prank gift. But so clearly that garage was so full of shit. There's no way the car could fit into it. So, like, I was never at any point confused that it might be a car.
Joke's on you, Dad. You're a hoarder.
I was never at any point confused. It's like, oh, that's clearly not a car. You read about this or heard that this would be a funny gag gift. It has failed.
Wow.
Whoa. I remember you being upset about that at the time.
Just like how stupid it was. Anyway.
The mazes in particular.
Oh, the mazes, felt very off the mark.
I think... I remember you telling me the story that he gave you the book of mazes and then realized he had intended to wrap that up and give it to someone else after you unwrapped it or something.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, right. So then he also took it back. That's true. It's fine. My college education was paid for. I can't complain.
That's right. There you go.
So birthday gifts don't matter. They're just this weird problem you have to solve as you age as a parent. But the big stuff, college, that's fine. You win overall. So if no one else has any important birthday ages or gifts, I don't. I'm concerned about the Watcher Council's treatment of 2 of its employees. So do you guys get murdered just to put together a Slayer test? Is this a normal operational cost for putting together this test? What is going on here?
I feel like this might be fairly normal because we know that the Watchers see this as like a sacred duty that's passed down generationally, and they have these special retreats and all these like sort of like systems to make you feel like it's important, which is a thing you do when you want to abuse people, like make them feel like the payment is not why they're working. They're working because it's, you know, sacred or something.
For the honor.
Yeah,
Wow.
for the honor.
John, that's amazing.
And Travers does not seem that worried that the two.
No, he doesn't.
He's just like, well, I saw Buffy walked into the murder house. Like, yeah. So do you think these two employees like are Watchers also, or do you think they're like, I don't know, what defines a Watcher? I guess
I assumed
that's really
we were
unclear.
training to be Watchers. That's what I assumed watching it, that these would be future Watchers. Would have been.
But there's clearly a lot more to being a Watcher than Slayer watching. That is only one of many hats you can wear in the Watchers Council, apparently.
Yeah. But they're not all watching. It's named after the main job, but...
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, Giles' job is watching, but like, are they watching something else?
I think they just watch Slayers. I don't know.
We'll see.
Anyway, it just seems like it just made the Watchers Council seem like a shitty place. And like we haven't had a lot of insight into how that thing functions at this point. So like I was put off by it that they were expendable because initially it felt like they were very important, but then they're not.
Yep. They die real fast.
Yeah.
Kralik keeps talking about not draining too much blood. Has that been established as a thing before? Like if you drain too much blood, the vampire doesn't turn or something?
Well, to turn a vampire, the vampire drinks your blood, and then you drink the vampire's blood, right?
Yes.
You can't drink if you're already dead.
So, but if the guy drank at all...
Like, you have to have enough blood to swallow.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I don't know.
You say pill-addicted vamp, Mike?
Yeah, so they get this vampire addicted to drugs. Like...
Yeah, because those pills are clearly not, like, for his psychological health or anything. I thought they were maybe migraine pills.
I thought they were keeping him somewhat sedated so he could stay tied up.
But he's
but why would he
addicted to
keep
them
wanting
also.
them?
Oh, right.
Because, like...
That doesn't make sense. You're right.
Like, I know people on antipsychotics who the first thing they want to do is get off antipsychotics. I don't know anyone who's, like, on any of those who's like, this is it. This is it for me. I love it.
No, that's same. Yeah.
And then he even like exploits their comprehension of what the pills are doing in order to eat a guy. So the pill thing, like he uses against them, which is whatever, what I expect to have happen. It's not a shocking scene, but like, because they're using that long spoon to feed the pills. So did they create the pill addicted vamp, or was he addicted to pills and then became a vampire and then they fed the pills to him? Like, I think as a villain, it's kind of a strange one. So like Kralik, like he's addicted to these things that apparently sedate him somewhat, but also like he's about to go. It's like keeping back headaches of some kind. So,
yeah, that's why I assumed they were migraine pills because of the headaches and the way he was like, I can't see when he had like his fake not being able to see the pills. Like I can understand like people have migraines go blind from the pain, right?
But we haven't had any other vampires who've had other disabilities, right? Like it's kind of unusual to be a vampire and then also have another problem.
Yeah.
So it's like you're a vampire and you're a psychotic.
Yeah, it's odd that you can be a vampire and be sick. Because he's physically ill, not just mentally.
Well, Spike was in a wheelchair for a while.
Oh, that's true. Okay, that's true.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't
know. Though.
This guy has a mental disorder and is a vampire. He probably had a mental disorder before he was a vampire. This is the same treatment is what I imagine is going on. And so probably in the realm of vampires, it's probably easy to, how do I imagine the story? It was easy to take a person from a mental hospital and then, you know, turn him into a vampire or control him when he became a vampire, you know?
Yeah.
And
I think part of it is like they think, like the show thinks like, what's scarier than a normal vampire? is a dude who was already a serial killer before he even became a vampire. Like they did that with the Gorches, right?
Right.
But to me, that's like not the most interesting thing about a vampire. It's more like, what's the thing about you as a human you were repressing that goes out as a vampire?
Right.
I don't know.
But yeah, he's an interesting vampire, and I'm curious how he works. And then, clearly they're talking a lot about Buffy because the first thing he does is go and like try and kidnap her mom, kidnap Joyce or whatever. But he's like a weird vampire, and it turns out, of course, that's his undoing. I don't think Buffy has enough insight into him to actually pull off her method of killing him, but she's able to. I don't know. It's just a weird pill-addicted vampire thing is cool and weird.
Yeah. I asked, how did the Polaroid get pinned inside the house? When Buffy comes back home, she finds a Polaroid inside the house that says come, and it's like pinned to the wall. So I was like, who did that?
He did it with the long spoon.
Okay. He likes the spoon.
The spoon is the star of this episode.
Do you think Buffy ends up going to the ice show with anyone? Maybe they're making all those sandwiches for her ice show at the end.
I'm going to say no. Buffy does not go to the ice show.
No ice show. That's for kids.
She's too old for it now. Okay.
Yeah, Buffy's dad is kind of a dick, and she realizes that all father figures will betray you. Hence, we don't need ice shows in our life.
Mike and John, you both have like kind of intense questions now.
Oh yeah, these are all about rituals. So I'll start. But do you remember a ritual your parents performed when you turned 18? Was there anything that happened?
I don't think
my
so.
parents celebrated my 18th birthday by being at the same party together, which was terrifying.
Oh. I think they opened up a bottle of champagne for me.
Oh, for
Aw.
you?
Yeah.
That's nice.
So I remember that. I don't remember being hazed or anything.
Yeah, I also remember no ritual, but turning 18 is important, or becoming an adult. I do remember both my parents being present for my college graduation and that being incredibly awkward, but high school graduation, yeah, they were also both present. Like these ritual ceremonies they're part of, but I don't remember some private ritual being created. They just both attended the public ritual and were humiliated by each other's appearance.
Woo! I'm curious if anybody's ever experienced any hazing rituals. This is clearly a sort of, it's not hazing in the sense that the watchers don't have to go through it, but these sort of like rites of passage that are clearly just punishments.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of stuff, not for me, but like since I have dated multiple academics, like I feel like when you're getting a PhD, there's all these rites of passage that are mainly horrible and don't prove anything. Like the idea of doing comprehensive exams where you have like, they give you like a topic and then you have 24 hours to like write a paper on it. Just seems like hazing. It doesn't seem like it proves anything. Just seems horrible. And I've known multiple people who have vomited trying to do that. It just seems shitty. So I feel like the world is full of hazing rituals. I can't think of any I've gone through.
Yeah, I can't think of any I've gone through either. I don't. I mean, I feel like I've been pranked a number of times in my life, but it's not hazing. Maybe there's a certain degree of like hazing when you're starting to date somebody or something, and you're like,
oh,
it's not hazing necessarily, but you have to like show them your favorite movie and like,
oh, like when you make someone watch every episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah,
Is
but
that's date hazing.
Star Trek, I love it. But that's a different thing, right? Like when you're getting someone used to your internal language, like you're sharing a part of the you, whatever you call that. What is that?
Yeah. Well, that's I watched. Have you guys seen?
It's called a relationship.
Have you guys seen that? Did you watch The Big Sick?
Yes.
No.
There's a line in that where Kumail Nanjiani makes his girlfriend watch The Abominable Dr. Phibes, which is an amazing movie.
Oh, that is a great movie.
But she's like, is this a girlfriend test? And he's like, what? No, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, I love girlfriend tests. I love when men try to like put me through girlfriend tests. It was like I was like, oh yeah, I've totally done that.
Oh, I've totally done that. Was yours the Abominable Dr. Fives? I feel like it may well be.
I think Kumail's response was exactly like the response if I was a comedian, what I would write. He's like, well, not that movie, the A-B movie.
Right.
I make people watch RoboCop more often than I should.
Why RoboCop?
It's really good.
It's so violent. It's so surprisingly violent.
And it's actually like really like prescient to like right now. Like one of the big things in it is that OCP, Omni Consumer Products, is like privatizing everything that used to be public. Like they're making jails into profit centers, and like they're like making the police into a profit center, and like they're trying to like basically make their own private community out of the ruins of Detroit. And it's just like, I don't know, it totally predicts like what consumerism was like. It takes consumerism up another notch, and that's like where we are now. Also, it's really violent. All right, we're gonna get into themes. Do we have any more questions?
Yep, totally. Let's move on to themes.
All right. Travis asks, or thematically says, that he feels like the Watchers Council is another big evil in the show. And I feel Giles is totally complicit in the evil with a very much I was just following orders attitude. I think back then on TV, it was normal to forgive your father for being a D-bag. But now if this was made, there would be a chance that hell no, she wouldn't forgive him. And Giles would be written out of the show. I don't think Giles would have been written out of the show, but I definitely think this is the kind of betrayal that takes a lot longer to forgive than the show gave time for. Let's see. And Travis has some of the same things of like, why should the Buffy ever listen to the Watchers Council again?
She shouldn't. They've done nothing to either alert her to their presence or to like make themselves meaningful to her. Like the Watchers Council has only been negative in her life, in the sense, I mean, they provided her with Giles, I guess, in the first place, so that's good. But they're not doing very positive things for her, so I don't think she should. And then I agree with Travis that Giles would be written out of the show in a different show because that's such a big betrayal. It's so huge, like, and then for him to continue to be on the show. But like, I thought that of the Xander, Willow betrayal. Like, shows are pretty big on betrayal. In 2018, 2017, like if you fuck with someone's life, like you're off the show. You don't normally just stay on to do whatever. Like normally you'll die or be killed after your betrayal happens. Like, it's interesting reading The Walking Dead. You guys ever read that? The Kirkman?
I did.
Walking Dead?
Read lots of it until it got really dumb.
Okay. So what point is that?
When the zombies or the people start wearing zombie masks, there's all the fake zombies that are people wearing zombie masks. That's stupid.
I didn't get that far.
Yeah.
So like to volume 25 or something of The Walking Dead. So anyway, that show's great, but the comic is great, but it also has like a very simple attitude, which I think TV has in general, which is like, if you do a bad thing, then you get killed. Right? So it's like, it's really simple. It's like, if you do a bad thing, you die. And the unfortunate thing is, in reality, that's not what happens. You do a bad thing, usually you stay alive for a long time.
Yeah.
You continue to hurt people. And like you're not really punished that severely. Or maybe someone brings it up that you did that thing. But like, normally your life continues as normal. It's like you do a bad thing. So like, Giles does a bad thing in a TV show universe where everyone is equitable, which TV shows are, of course, like fantasy universes of how humans behave, right? And how things should work. Like there's punishments. So like what Giles does is unforgivable. He would be killed or removed from the show. But the show is so excited about Giles and wants him to be part of the future universe, or maybe it's some like filler episode for season 3 of a 90s show. So it's okay that he does this and he'll continue. Anyway, I think he would be gone in a modern show.
Really? Right? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what modern show. Well, like, I mean, obviously Walking Dead loses people a lot, but like, I don't know. Lost had a lot of betrayal and characters kept hanging around. I don't know if that's
a good point. Yeah.
modern show anymore. But it also, like, I mean, I feel like more the opposite happens a lot, where like characters switch so much now from like good to evil and back again and stuff. Like, you'll be watching a show and like one season somebody's on the team, the next season they're against them, and like somehow we just accept these weird turns.
No, you're right. Maybe Walking Dead is like an older example of a show where it's like you screw up, the character screws up and does something bad, they're dead. And like what Giles does is unforgivable. Period.
Yeah, but I think the show wants us to forgive Giles, and that's why
Yes, it does.
gives him that turn.
Oh, well, he retracts his
like,
statement even and then like apologizes. Like he does the bad thing, which is like making Buffy look into the crystal of hypnotizing slayers and then gives her the juice, right? Like, yeah, like, and then he apologizes afterwards.
do you think every watcher comes up with their own how to hypnotize slayers, or do you think they all just get shipped the same crystal?
I feel like
that's a problem a watcher can solve.
Yeah.
I think that crystal's been around. I haven't seen it in Giles' study before.
Oh, that's like part of the kit. Like, so they go to set up the murder house and they drop off the hypno crystal. There's like a kit that you have. It's like it comes with like one sedated crazy vampire, one long spoon, one hypno crystal, and one vial of knockout juice.
You think it's one vial they're using, or a bunch of vials? These are unimportant questions. I'm sorry.
Seriously.
Travis asks again. I feel this episode faults the patriarchy, but then sidesteps hard and absolves Giles of guilt. Which, yeah, we talked about that. The catcalling is used as comedic foil rather than anything thought-provoking.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah.
The catcall, I thought the catcalling was threatening. I didn't think that was funny.
Yeah, but the way that she shakes it off and it just sort of moves to the next scene, I don't know. I felt like it was to bring up street harassment. It felt a little...
I feel like it hit really hard, too. I think they did it. I think they pulled it off.
Where she's on the street and she gets catcalled?
Yeah.
I don't think that's...
I don't think it's a joke. Maybe it's not.
No, but it's the first time you've seen the character transform into the powerless version of themselves, and that's the full transformation into powerless version of Buffy, and like it hits hard. Like I've watched the show for how long, and like I've never seen her feel weak, and I saw her feel weak 1, 2, 3 times, and that was the third time, and it was the cat calling, not even a villain or someone's trying to kill her.
Right,
feeling weak. It was really fun. They pulled it off. I think with what I think they're trying to pull off, which is just like that's another form of violence.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I said Buffy being upset that she might not be the Slayer anymore really shows how much her character has changed since season 1. She's full on embracing being the Slayer now and is upset. Like she has that whole speech about I can't go back. Right.
That's a good point.
So just you see how much she's changed. And then there's a visual theme running through of Little Red Riding Hood, Kralik being the big bad wolf. Although he dresses up like Little Red Riding Hood instead of like the grandma. If you're gonna full on do it, he would dress up like Joyce, right?
Right.
But I don't know if that means anything. I think it's just a visual and a thing to make like Kralik more intimidating is to make him like the wolf, right? Although the thing of yelling hide and seek is like the dumbest way to play hide and seek.
I mean, I think it just brings up the idea of a young, vulnerable girl in a threatening world. I think is the general thing they're doing. But I agree, it's not super specific or deep.
I don't know if it counts for Mike's predictions that fairy tales are real.
Oh, I'd say no.
All right.
I mean, I was predicting something a little bit louder than that. This is a really like minor thing, and I noted it when I was watching. But like, it's pretty minor as far as a fairy tale connection.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to predictions, I guess. We can come to
that. Yeah. Well, why don't we go on to predictions?
Oh, let's do predictions then. All right.
Shall we?
Presently, Mike's prediction accuracy is at a 68.75, so he's still hovering at 69. We've got some business to take care of here. Now, most importantly and most obviously, way the hell back in the second ever episode, Mike predicted that Joyce would be kidnapped.
Yay!
And finally she was. I couldn't believe when Mike predicted that, I'm like, well, obviously she does. I couldn't remember when it was, though. I can't believe it's taken this long. It's such an obvious thing to kidnap Joyce, but she hasn't been kidnapped till now.
I remembered this episode was
Oh, wow. I can't believe this counts as a kidnapping thing.
Wait, why would it not?
No, it totally is. I just feel like there's been so many other terrible things that have happened to Joyce. This is the one that counts. It's great.
Okay. Mike had some predictions about the Watchers Council we can talk about. I don't think we're probably going to confirm or deny anything here.
I think we can deny the one where didn't Mike predict that the Watchers Council will apologize?
Well, yeah, but hold on a second. So Mike predicted that there is a special school for Watchers that we will see in season 3. Now, depending on your definition of school, there's no physical school building that we see, but is like 3 Watchers hanging out together a school?
No.
Like fish? No?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, you're talking about being able to actually see a Watchers building.
I want them to cut to a building.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Mike did predict that the Watchers Council will apologize in season 3 for not warning about Gwendolyn. Now, they certainly had an opportunity here.
Well, I made a mistake because clearly they're not going to.
You were thinking of the Watchers Council as being some sort of nice group at that time.
I thought they were a benevolent group, and I was wrong. They're not.
Now,
benevolent.
I think technically we need to leave this open because they still have plenty of season 3 left in which they could apologize.
It's going to be they're going to be the evil villain of this season.
Great. Okay. Now, this one's interesting. Season 3, episode 7, Mike predicts that the Watcher Council is concerned with bigger shit than Buffy and Giles. I don't feel like we can confirm or deny that in this episode alone. I feel like they're mainly concerned with Buffy and Giles, but it certainly leaves the possibility that they might be concerned with other things.
I think it's definitely hinting at Mike being correct with that. But
oh my God.
Season 3, episode 11, as we just mentioned, Mike predicts, and the actual thing that he predicted here is more fairy tale characters as villains.
More fairy tale villains.
Do we see a fairy tale character as a villain, Dennis? What do you think?
I guess not. He doesn't go if he had actually been I'm not actually a vampire, I'm a wolf.
Right.
Transformed. That
Right.
would have been a different thing.
And
would have been a little too grim, probably.
That is it. That's all we have to talk about. So that is one confirmation. No denials this episode. So that's a net positive, I suppose. Bringing Mike up to 69.2. So still an average of 69, but a little higher. If you round it off, it's still 69, but a little higher.
All right. Well, I have new predictions. I'm going to make 6 for every confirmation. So my predictions this episode, Cordelia will betray Buffy. Oz will betray Buffy. I think, what's my Amy Rat prediction currently?
Sorry, I was muted. Amy will become human and have a scandalous reveal in season 3.
Fuck. Because I want to make a prediction that she'll be a rat for the rest of season 3 based on Willa's behavior currently. Okay, I'm going to make a contradictory prediction.
Okay.
Amy will be a rat for the rest of season 3. The new Watcher will not be a good father figure. Giles will continue to train Buffy as if he was a Watcher. And finally, Giles will be reinstated as a Watcher.
Do you have a time prediction on the last one?
Damn it. Season 3. This is all going to happen season 3. New Watcher will not be a good father figure, season 3. Giles will continue to train Buffy as if he was a Watcher, season 3. Giles will be reinstated as a Watcher, season 3.
Okay. Wait, these are all season 3 bound?
Yeah, that's all season 3. They have to wrap this shit up because they don't know if they're going to get renewed. They have to figure this shit out.
Okay.
High school is a rite of passage.
But the Watcher Council is such a bunch of bullshit to drop on this show. It's like what direction do they want to take the show? Well, we'll use the Watcher Council to manipulate it now. Anyway.
All right. That is 6 new open predictions. That's a good number of predictions, Mike.
Great.
All right, let's move on to my kill count. I counted 2 humans die and 3 vampires get poofed. So that's my kill count.
So are we counting Malcolm Reed from Star Trek Enterprise twice?
We are.
Cool.
I love what you're doing right now. I love it.
That's another Star Trek ding going on.
Obviously, you don't have to call it out. Like, I do re-listen to these shows when I put the cues in.
All right, recommendations. So since Kralik killed and ate his mother, I was like, well, he's Ed Gein. Obviously, every serial killer movie is based on Ed Gein.
Right.
So I will recommend, because of that, Psycho and the first 2 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. And I will also recommend the movie Deranged, which we played once at Atomic Age Cinema.
I don't recall that one.
It's more specifically about Ed Gein. It's not like it's trying to do the like real life one. And then I'm also going to recommend 2 fairly recent independent horror movies that are about serial killers. I'm going to recommend the movie Found by Scott Shermer, which is about a kid who finds out his brother's a serial killer. It's really good. It was made by people that John and I know. I recommend it. And I also recommend the movie Mania, which is, according to the director, the log line is a fucked up lesbian horror story, or lesbian love story maybe. But it's like, it's good. It's like if one of your one partner is a serial killer and the other's trying to like keep shit under wraps.
Oh God.
I watched it at a film fest and it really made me feel like I had just come off of doing like a lot of caregiving at the time, and I was like, I can understand this like character really trying to keep this shit together, but it's like you can't even take a bathroom break because she's going to kill somebody.
So, questions for those films: which year is Mania?
Mania was 2015, I think.
Okay,
Found is like 2012, maybe.
Oh my gosh, because those are popular movie names, and there's years, like there's 3 every year for Mania.
It would be Found, period, when you look it up. Found with a period. And Mania was directed by Jessica Cameron, if that helps you find it.
Found is 2012.
Cool, got it. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, and you can find those on our website under recommendations. All right. Thank you guys so much. You've made it through another episode of Buffy Virgin. Once again, I am Dennis.
You are amazing. Whoever you are.
You made it through a tough one. So I'm Dennis St. John. You can find me on my website, Dennis Comics, on my Patreon, Dennis St. John. I'm on Twitter, it's Dennis Comics. And you can buy my book, The Land of Many Monsters and Many More Monster Tales, on Amazon. And you can find Buffy Virgin on Twitter at Buffy Virgin Pod, Instagram, Buffy Virgin, Facebook /Buffy Virgin. Anything else anybody wants to promote, or did I miss?
No, just thank you for sitting through it. We all really appreciate it. We love doing it. Love hanging out.
Next week is the Zeppo. We're going to go from dark to light.
Oh, good. Finally.